Welcome to another behind-the-scenes video tour from the Lake Superior Railroad Museum here in downtown Duluth. Like these videos, share these videos, and sign up for these videos so you get one every time they drop. We're in the plaza of the Duluth Library. Right behind me is our Union Depot, home of the Lake Superior Railroad Museum, celebrating 130 years. It was built in 1892. They're doing some construction work, as you can see on the portico. Over the time, the building stayed in one place, but the portico moved in the opposite direction. So they're shoring that back up, going to redo that roof line, and St. Louis County is being very good to its building. This used to be a hotel. It wasn't always the Duluth Library. No, at one time, this was a magnificent Spalding Hotel. It was quite the place. And why not have a hotel? Right over there, you've got a train station. One block in that direction, that was the Soo Line Depot. And on the other side of the freeway where the deck is, that was the Omaha Depot. So you had 3 train stations all in one area. Of course you were going to have a grand hotel, and the Spalding was it. And it was quite the watering hole. Green's Crystal Terrace was a famous spot for all the reporters at the Duluth News Tribune to come and hang out. And we have a hotel downtown right now. It's the Radisson Hotel behind me. But oh no, it wasn't always the Radisson Hotel. It used to be the Commercial Hotel. And there lies quite a story. We're on top of the Radisson Hotel in downtown Duluth at the Apostle Restaurant with a beautiful panoramic view of the city. Restaurants play a very important part in this story because that's how an invention was made that everybody enjoys. To start this story, we go to Tvedt, Switzerland in 1829. John Guérit is born. He has an interest in food and culinary skills. So in 1854, he comes to America. But not until he spends several years of his life in France learning about French cuisine. He does it so well he learns to speak French, and of course he comes to America and gets into the food industry. His first position is in the White House of Franklin Pierce, President Pierce. He is in charge of the kitchen. But what he really wants to do is have his own restaurant and his own hotel. And he finds out that the Commercial, the hotel that was where the Radisson is today in downtown Duluth, is now for sale. So he comes to Duluth in 1855, buys the Commercial Hotel, turns the laundry room into a kitchen, and what was a bar, he expands for now a bar and restaurant. And he's in the business. And he couldn't be more proud or more excited. Opening day of his new restaurant in the new hotel, he changes the name from the Commercial to Le Pearl Hotel. Le Pearl Hotel, because everything in it is French. So much so that on opening night, he puts this menu in the paper. It's got French peas. It's got oysters on the menu. It's got wonderful things, Lake Superior trout, all done with a French flair and a French cuisine style. And for dessert, what to do? His famous homemade blueberry pie with a scoop of ice cream. And to keep with the French theme, he calls it pie a la mode. That's right. The confection of every church social throughout everywhere in the country. Pie a la mode was invented here in Duluth in the Commercial where the Radisson now stands. You know, that wasn't the only invention that John Guérit had. He was quite an inventive guy. He developed a patent, which he had on display, for a way to ventilate a long space so that if you were on one end of the space, you weren't getting a tidal wave of air thrown at you. And at the other end of the space, you weren't roasting. A ventilation system for a long, narrow, enclosed space. Like, a train car. He patents one of the very first ventilation systems for train cars, John Guérit. Back in the day, if you wanted ventilation, all you had to do was open the window. But then you got all the dirt, you got a blast of air, and maybe somebody down on the other end is cold when you're warm, or you're warm when they're cold. So what John Guérit did on June 20th of 1889 was patent a ventilation system that would go along the roof like a giant corkscrew, and that way distribute the air evenly throughout the train car. He invented one of the very first forms of ventilation for railroad cars. And he also invented pie a la mode here in Duluth, Minnesota, proving once again, if you work it hard enough, it all comes back to the railroad. Let's take care of each other.